Now this is Zombie Woof at the schoolhouse.
Okay, flashback to 1977. And I was taking a year between graduating from high school and eventually going to college. So I was hanging out. And someone I knew needed a ride into the city. I lived in Jersey, about 15 miles west of Manhattan. And so I agreed to give this guy a ride to the city. And we went down Route 3, through the Lincoln Tunnel, uptown. I parked by, I guess it was an apartment building, like a 10, 20-story building, and on the upper west side, and he went in. And I knew I was taking him to get some weed, and the thing was, I had just turned 18. That's significant, right? Legally. So I wait, and after about 20 minutes, which seemed like forever at night, parked on the side of the street, he came back out with a big old paper grocery bag. And he gets in the passenger side of my parents' station wagon. And he proceeds to pull out a big old briar bowl, which I'd seen before, but he had not yet brought out on this drive. We didn't smoke on the way into the city. He breaks out the bowl, and he reaches into the big paper bag and brings out a giant bud and crumbles it up enough and fills this bowl and fires it up. And I'm like, this is my parents' car. It's actually like practically brand new, and they don't smoke. And he's like, oh, yeah, of course. So he rolls the window down, turns up the air conditioner, and the smoke's going out the window pretty well, but it's not cool. I'm like, so what's in the bag? Well, he'd picked up a pound. He picked up a pound of weed, and I was like, oh, great. So we drove back. We went through the Lincoln Tunnel, which is where you cross over state lines from New York to New Jersey. And as we came out of the tunnel, up behind us comes a flashing red light, and we're getting pulled over as we're exiting the tunnel, just as we're coming out. And I am thinking, oh, I'm done. And I was like, put everything away. And so he does. He's sticking the bowl and the buds back down in the big shopping bag, and it's at his feet. It's by his feet on the front floor of the station wagon, Chevy Caprice. And this cop, just when I pull over on the ramp up out of the tunnels, and this cop just goes on past us. And the way I see it, if it weren't for the angel that was there, I'd probably be getting out. I'd probably be getting out of prison right about now. That was a pound interstate adult. Okay. 1992, maybe 3, Halloween. My wife is my girlfriend. We've only known each other for 6 months. I'm starting to meet her friends. I'm from New Jersey. But I've lived here for 10 years now in West Virginia, and she's from West Virginia, and her friends are all from West Virginia, and I figure fine. But for some reason, I decided to go full costume because we are throwing a Halloween party at our house. We got about 8 or 10 of her friends coming, and so I go full costume, and I decide on A Clockwork Orange, the main character, right? And I did a really good job. I don't know how I pulled it all together with the white clothes and the derby hat. And I glued on the one eyelash. And not one of her friends had ever seen the movie. And I made an impression, I made quite an impression. And it wasn't that I was gay. It was way more than that. I had a single eyelash glued to my eye. Suspenders, white shirt. Somehow or other, they all got over it. I mean, we never had any trouble. I wound up becoming friends with most all of her friends. Just a miscalculation, just a miscalc. But eventually, in about 2017, only 9 years ago? No, it was more like 16. I was getting ready to retire. I'd been working for 40 years and 31 years at the same place, and I was in my last few months, and I knew that. And I had a great job for 30 years, and then the last year it really went south, and I was not a happy camper. And so I decided to, instead of being anything else, I just thought, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to burn off this angsty energy by going into costume again. But this time at work and deadpan. Deadpan was the key. It wasn't a major costume, but what I did is I glued a bunch of hair to my eyebrows. So they were super bushy, hairy eyebrows. They looked kind of real, actually. You couldn't tell that it was Elmer's glue holding it all there, but they looked kind of real. And I actually went to work for the whole day and never once let on. And the thing was, nobody said anything, right? Obviously, people were looking at my eyes. Nobody said anything. And eventually, I was standing in the office, and a friend of mine was there, and she said, so Bruce, where'd you get the hair for your eyebrows? And I stayed deadpan as I said, well, last night Emily shaved her legs. That's my daughter. And I just grabbed a couple handfuls, which was the truth. And I stayed deadpan, and she and at least 2 other people who were sitting around almost literally rolled on the floor, and I enjoyed that. I just exited stage left before I cracked a smile. That was fun. That was sweet. So there you go. I mean, that's sort of the things I'm capable of, and it's better than making a scene or getting angry or expressing my disgruntledness in any other way. I just thought, well, here's an opportunity to have some fun. So I did. So there you go. Peace be with you.